Good evening, Wood County. I'm Taylor Collins, executive producer here at BG24 News. Every week we bring you the stories that matter most on campus, in the community, across the state, and across the nation. The Producers Panel is where we take a step back and talk about the stories in our own opinion. But these opinions do not reflect the views of the organization and do not impact the way we cover these or any other stories. Tonight we'll be discussing the fast approaching mayoral election happening in Bowling Green. Then we'll be discussing the recent GOP-Republican debate. We will also be discussing the newly sworn-in Speaker of the House, finally diving into the new Reform Act that has been enforced in China for decades. It's all here on your BG24 News Producers Panel. I'm here with reporter Amy Stegerwald, producer Isabella Maney, and public affairs host DeMonte Quincy. Thank you for joining me tonight, everyone.
Thanks for having us.
Election night is fastly approaching in Bowling Green. On Tuesday night, Bowling Green residents will be electing a mayor and other council positions. With the mayoral position being uncontested for over 10 years, the campaigning for each candidate has been under close watch. Kelly Wicks, Richard Edwards, and Dan Phillips are the upcoming candidates, each with their own specific platforms to better the city. So I was able to watch the debate. I couldn't go to it personally because I had to work, but I really appreciated what everybody had to say about the city. I really was mainly focused on the questions that had to do with bringing the university kids and the community members closer together. So I kind of want to just get you guys feeling on how they did. Students are like really impact Bowling Green, and I feel like the dynamic between students and community members is a very important one. So the fact that he's a student and he understands that, okay, students need to get more involved with the city, but also city members need to get involved with more students and kind of understand where we're coming from.
But is he only focused on his students or the community as a whole?
Well, he talked about climate change and like housing reform. I mean, he touched on a lot of good topics, but I do think he really cares about the students, which is why I think a lot of students will actually vote for him. Coming up when we return, we'll be discussing the recent GOP-Republican debate that aired earlier this week. Stay with us. Welcome back to BG24 News Producers Panel. Wednesday night, CNBC hosted the third GOP-Republican debate this year. The candidates who took the stage were frontrunners Donald Trump and Ben Carson, followed by Marco Rubio, Jeb Bush, Tim Cruz, Chris Christie, Mike Huckabee, Rand Paul, Carly Fiorina, and John Kasich. So I did watch this debate, and I was literally laughing because I felt like Donald Trump was making jokes. Like I thought this was supposed to be like a serious debate about really like good things. Like they talked about the insurance policies and everything. And I just felt like it was a joke to me. What do you guys feel?
I do agree.
I think it's Governor Christie was saying. He had a lot of great insight on a lot of topics. I thought he did very well. I know a lot of people were voting for Ben Carson to do well. I felt like he did not do that good in this debate. For you to just be like a brain surgeon, a doctor, even when they asked him about pharmaceuticals, I thought he would have way better answers than he did.
Well, I think the big thing when
it was interesting, like you pointed out, they really focused a lot on Hillary Clinton, and I was like,
it was all about
and
Hillary
they were talking
Clinton
about like the media representation of her and how, you know, she has a bigger platform just because of her media standpoints, and I just was like, this is about the people, and we're focusing 20 minutes on Hillary Clinton. I mean, I feel like even though there's a lot of candidates, I feel like we should still focus on the people, because the earlier people know your opinions, the earlier they can, you know, form a relationship with you, form a bond with you, and they can say, oh yeah, I've known since October what his standpoint was. I'm definitely going to vote for him. So I don't think that's an excuse.
I definitely do think that
Republican Paul Ryan was officially elected as the 54th Speaker of the House. The vote was largely formatted after House Republicans nominated him for a position on Wednesday. So I tuned in to C-SPAN and I was able to watch him get sworn in. I've never seen that before because I'm never, you know, into it. And it was really cool to kind of see it. I previously knew about Paul Ryan because he was with like the Mitt Romney campaign like a year ago. And I really thought that he was going to try to run for president like this election.
A lot of people thought that.
So it's kind of weird that he's in the House now. So what do you guys feel about it?
You know,
I feel like what he spoke about after he, you know, said all his thank yous was really important. He was just talking about like the House is the closest people to, you know, real people. So we have to really focus on the issues of the people, even though that we're at a higher standpoint, we have to basically do the homework for America. So I thought that was a really interesting point to say, like, we need to, you know, grind the gears and really focus on making the economy, education, just a lot of stuff that's kind of wrong with America now better. So I think that was like a really nice point that he made.
And if we focus on the
people about Future, he is a younger person, you know, so I feel like he'll have enough time to actually build reform and actually build it up. I mean, I know he's new now. There will be some mistakes. I'm saying there will be a lot to, you know, get us through, but I feel like with his age being a little bit younger than a lot of the other representatives, he's, you know, not only approaches, you know, young people better, but he'll have time to actually really build up a nice career within the House.
Yeah, and
Coming up next, we'll be discussing the new Reform Act happening in China. Stay tuned. Welcome back to BG24 News Producers Panel. China has decided to end its decade-long one-child policy. Couples will now be allowed to have 2 children instead of 1. It is said that the decision is to allow families to have 2 children was designed to improve the balanced development of the population. So do you guys feel that this is progressive or problematic? Because I know that this has been, you know, there for years, like since the 70s, 60s. So I just want to know everyone's opinion individually, because I know it's a lot. So systematic, because China's like, okay, like everybody's dying out, we need to get more money into our country, so everybody can have 1 more child now. And it was interesting to say, like, they were like, you can have 2 children if the first one is a girl, because if the first one is a guy, then you can't have any more.
Long-term solution for China.
So in the end, it'll still take money out of their country, because they're going to be venturing out to go somewhere else, and they're not going to be able to be productive in their own country because they can't be. Tonight we'll discuss how a local bookstore is calling it quits after 60 years in business. Then we'll get into a recent comments of a GOP frontrunner. Later, we'll be diving into a scandal facing the LA Lakers. Finally, we'll be talking about a recent suicide attempt of an R&B singer. It's all here on your BG24 News Producers Panel. SBX Student Bookstore is closing after 53 years in business. Reporter Emily Cohen found out why and how BGSU students were affected. I've been in BG for 5 years. I've known it the entire 5 years. So I can't imagine those people in the city who've grown to, you know, love this bookstore, how they feel about it. So what do you guys think this says about Bowling Green? The thing about that is I'm so upset that this happened when the union is under construction, because now we're all just thrown off. We're so used to the union. We're so used to XBX. So now I don't even really like the bookstore where it is now. So I don't even know what bookstore to go to in the city anymore, because and then like they're revamping the actual bookstore. So when they really get that back in there, they're gonna be like, we have a new facility, we got everything brand new. They're gonna charge at least an extra $15, $20, $30. So that's why Chegg is just so like, it's crazy how like the internet has really brought this out, because Chegg is amazing. You get 5 books for $200.
And they give you little gifts and stuff.
Yeah,
so
it's
nice.
Oh, I gotta look into that.
They've given me like Tide Pods and like lip gloss.
Hey, there we go.
See, you can't get that at SBX,
You can't get
but
that.
you know, I really hope that they, like their brief, you know, closing, I really hope that they do revamp it, because it was a great thing to have in Bowling Green, you know, as you know, some history of Bowling Green.
It was definitely an icon, I think I'll have to say that.
Definitely. Stay tuned, because when we come back, we'll be talking about a presidential candidate that spoke out about women's rights on abortions last night. BG24 News Producers Panel. Presidential candidate Donald Trump revealed a new hard-line position on abortions last night, saying if the procedure is banned, women who undergo it should be punished. Within minutes, Trump's potential Democratic opponent, Hillary Clinton, took to Twitter to voice her opinion on Trump's stance, saying, "Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, horrific and telling." Bernie Sanders took quick to Twitter as well, calling Trump shameful. But later on yesterday's evening, Trump's campaign issued a statement on his stance on abortion, saying, if Congress were to pass legislation making abortion illegal and the federal courts upheld this legislation, or any state were permitted to ban abortion under state and federal law, the doctor or any other person performing this illegal act upon a woman should be held legally responsible, not the woman. The woman is a victim in this case, as is the life in her womb. My position has not changed. Like Ronald Reagan, I am pro-life with exceptions. So I would say I'm surprised that he, you know, recanted his statement. But that's what you get with Donald Trump. So he goes out and says one thing when he's backed into a corner, and then he realizes that, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that and wrote that. Do you think that was genuine? What do you think about this?
I'm just surprised.
There's so much. Go ahead.
I'm just
so serious, and like the number of supporters that he still has is like incredible. I've never seen this turn out.
I don't know, but
and this isn't the first time he's had a problem with women, or you know, with things about women, so that's why it's a big problem.
And everybody's enraged.
His arguments aren't valid, because even when they asked him like what happened, he just said some form of punishment, and they went, it's like, so like 10 years, like what are you? He's like, I don't really know. You're so vague. How are you a president and you're this vague with your answers?
He's vague with everything.
That's ridiculous. There's no specifics in this. So how are you running for? You know how much specifics we got from Obama when he was doing this?
Yes.
We don't know anything about where he stands. So how could you trust him as a president? I really hope that this like helps. I'm sorry to cut you off, but like women voters, I hope that those Trump supporters who were women actually take a step back and see that he really is problematic to be a president. Politicians are the only ones facing scandals and issues with public statements this week. The Los Angeles Lakers are facing scandal when rookie D'Angelo Russell recorded a private locker room conversation with teammate Nick Young that went public. The conversation pertains to Young being asked if he slept with other women while being engaged to rapper Iggy Azalea. Russell has since publicly apologized, saying he felt sick over it and revealed that he had nothing to do with the public releasing of this video. Young issued a statement last night before his home game against Miami saying, "I don't want to get into my personal life right now. I think it's best for me and D'Angelo to handle the situation we had in a private manner outside the media. I think it's something we really do need to sit down and talk about. That's about it. What happened is what happened. We've got to work on it now." I think that this video leaking, I don't think that was an accident. Every time something leaks by accident, I never believe it. So do you think, I mean, he's getting a lot of backlash from it, so maybe he didn't leak it, but maybe since he's a rookie, he doesn't have a lot going for him in the media at this point. He has to do something to kind of put his name out there being new. So what do you guys think? Can stuff get on the internet without somebody posting it? He's so new that you can't even be like, okay, we trusted him. He's been with us for 5 years. He had a little slip up. Like, you kind of can't do this early. And my thing is, like, putting it on social media is like craziness because Iggy Azalea like gets on social media. So I know that the backlash. What does this say about basketball players? Because you know these shows like Basketball Wives, we know that a lot of these basketball husbands have had multiple women in their lives, have cheated, have had those fans that come up after the game. So are we really surprised about this, that like Nick Young is actually doing what a lot of basketball stars are used to doing? The internet has been slamming R&B singers Kehlani's love life for allegedly cheating on her Cleveland Cavaliers point guard love interest, Kyrie Irving, with ex-boyfriend rapper Party Next Door. The cheating scandal was sparked by a photo posted on Instagram by the rapper of him in bed with Kehlani. Kehlani ended up attempting suicide earlier within the week and shared an Instagram photo revealing she wanted to leave this earth and that she never thought she would get to such a low point. But it was R&B singer Chris Brown who took to Twitter to bash the suicidal singer, saying there is no attempting suicide and stop flexing for the gram. These were just a few comments in a series of tweets Chris tweeted bashing Kehlani and defending Kyrie Irving. The Cavs player has since spoken out of the series of tweets, saying he did not justify the picture or Party Next Door's actions in posting it, and that he was not dating Kehlani when the photo was taken, and that he wishes her and her family love during this time. So sad. One of the topics that, I really just don't play about is suicide. It is real. People really do, deal with this mental illness. With that being said, though, the convenience of time that Kehlani put this on Instagram, to me, screamed attention. I don't want my comments to be as bad. So what do you guys think? Do you think that it was real? Obviously, we don't play with things. But I've never seen a person, like, have a picture of their IV and put it on Instagram saying that they were suicidal. So what do you guys think? And then we'll go on to Chris Brown, because he just
I mean, I think it's
so happy Kyrie did, because Chris Brown's tweets were crazy. There was no attempt. Like, he was really bashing Kehlani. If no one else did in her comments, Chris Brown did it. So I'm happy
Chris
Kyrie
Brown
claiming.
bashed a woman? Wow.
Oh, gosh.
Shocking.
Well, I just am happy that Kyrie Irving came out and said his piece and said he really just wants to focus on the game, which is really what we need to talk about, focus on these Cavaliers, making a win.
Let's win a championship.
That's it for BG24 News Producers Panel tonight. We'll discuss a recent basketball game that happened at BGSU and the impact it made on the student body. Then we'll get into a political campaign manager who is no longer facing charges. Later, we'll be diving into a former NFL player who was shot and killed in a road rage incident. Finally, we'll be talking about a pop single that is making headlines, and not in a good way. It's all here on your BG24 News Producers Panel. A new event was featured during BGSU's annual Sibs and Kids Weekend. Reporter Alan Hunt shares how basketball strengthened relationships between police officers and the community. Organizers of Together We Ball said the turnout was a huge success and are planning to bring back the event for Sibs and Kids Weekend next year. So exciting to see this on campus. I really love when BGSU kind of brings the Bowling Green community in with students. So it's interesting to see this. I'm glad that they added this, because we haven't seen it like this before. So do you guys think this is a good idea? And, how do you think it will prosper, in Bowling Green State University? That's so important because, like we said, in the past few months, Bowling Green has been faced with a lot of different charges that involve, the police helping with assaults against kids or, helping out. So it's really good to see that the police are really involved in what the students do because we do make a lot of the population of Bowling Green up.
Yeah, and I
I
think
another reason why it was so successful is because of social media. I found out about this through, I follow like a lot of fraternities and sororities online, and they were all in attendance as well. So it kind of just showed that unity of BGSU, like yes, all of our clubs and organizations really do mesh well together, and then they put it on social media and it blew up. Hashtags, videos, posts, so I really think that, pushing that on social media will definitely help in the future of this, bringing it, to Bowling Green in such a technology era. Authorities in Florida announced today that they would not proceed with their case against Donald Trump's campaign manager, Corey Lewandowski. Authorities claimed that there wasn't enough evidence to convict him of attacking a reporter at a rally last month. Reporter Michelle Fields accused him of grabbing her as she attempted to ask Trump a question. So, this topic, every time Donald Trump's in the media, you gotta click it. But when I read this, I saw him talking to Anderson Cooper about it on CNN. And he was like, she's over-exaggerating, it wasn't this bad. So he was basically backing up his campaign manager. So do you guys think that it was appropriate to do that, even if it was assault and battery charges, even if he did get charged, he should, say something about it, do you think, or no?
Well, I
because
think
the footage didn't show what her statement said. Her statement's like, I almost got knocked down, I lost my balance, he grabbed me very hard, I had bruises on, my arm. And then when we see the video, he says it wasn't that harsh. But you weren't in that moment. You don't know how quickly he grabbed her.
And
he was trying to protect Donald, so I'm pretty sure he grabbed her like hard. With all the backlash that Trump is getting now with his recent comments on abortion and, the past comments of immigration, you would think that he would tread softly with this. You would think that, oh, we have something else, our eyes are, back on us. We should probably get rid of him. So that's why I was asking, why do you think this is a good idea? Just so he won't ruin Corey's family? I just didn't think that his reasoning behind keeping him was valid enough.
Going on.
New Orleans police are still investigating the shooting death of former NFL player Will Smith. Attorneys on both sides are sparring over a new piece of evidence, the discovery of a loaded gun inside the vehicle of Smith. Smith was licensed to carry a concealed weapon. He was not reaching for the gun when he was shot. So this new development really kind of made me upset because, again, it goes back to like the victim blaming situation. Just because he had a gun in his car, maybe he's the reason why he got killed. But nevertheless, it's still saddening to see this man get killed over a tiny hit and run. I thought it was tiny. I saw the video. I know you all saw it. I didn't think it was that serious enough for an altercation to transpire. So like, do you think this was set up? Because the way the video looks and like the description of it, it's kind of just a little sketchy. I think this goes back to what we've been talking about over the past several weeks about this gun control and this gun violence in America today. I just feel like this is a really big topic that we need to focus on. And this is just another instance of where these concealed weapons have really become a problem. So do you think that, this is just another episode of gun violence and we should just, put it under the rug? Or do you really think that this should be like, the straw that broke the camel's back? Another, person has been killed randomly for no reason. When we come back, we'll be talking about a new pop single getting backlash. Stay tuned. I really think J-Lo does need to come out because, like I said, she's been tweeting about this song and this video all day, and Meghan Trainor is the only one that said something. So the fact that she's just being oblivious to the situation is going to give her more backlash in the end. And so for the song to be subpar, don't you think that you should have as much support as possible? Because on the charts, on the Billboard charts, the money that you're getting for this song, you're not going to get it. And with this backlash, you're really not going to get it.
Yeah,
I'm just so saddened that J-Lo really let this come out. I mean, honestly, we should be boycotting Dr. Lou. We should be doing everything in our power to make sure that he is, committed for his crimes. And so the fact that she put it out there, she has a large following. So everybody that's like, oh, if they do like this song, they're like, who produced it? You know what I'm saying? And then that gives him more buzz when we really should be taking it away from him. It has been announced just hours ago that music legend and icon Prince has died at the age of 57 due to complications of the flu. He died at his Paisley Park residence this morning in Minnesota. The massive outpouring grief followed on social media where fans from all backgrounds took to share their sorrows. I'm so saddened by this. My family, my mother, my father, my aunts, uncles, were such huge Prince fans. So it's very devastating to see him, pass away. And pass away so young. 57 is a very, very young age. And the fact that he had a flu, I couldn't believe that he didn't bounce back from this because he wasn't, you know, an older person that got sick. So it's kind of just sad to see. Do you guys, you know, like Prince? You know, what will you remember most about him? And what do you think his legacy will be passed down for generations after this because he's gone now? He's such an inspiration because not only was he a musical genius, you know, incorporating rock music, funk music, jazz, you know, he was really an artist, but he also was a great person. I love that the image that he gives to, you know, just be yourself, and, you know, the whole thing about sexuality and male sexuality, just being very open and honest about himself is what really, I think, made him inspiration, just to me personally. You know, it's just really so sad that, you know, where music is today, you know, for me personally, it was so much greater in his time. So the fact that he's gone, you're right, like you said, the era is gone. The Flint water crisis has become a criminal case. 2 state regulators and a city employee have been charged with official misconduct, evidence tampering, and other offenses over the lead contamination that alarmed the city. Michael Frosby, a former district engineer with the State Department of Environmental Quality, Stephen Bush, a supervisor of the Department Drinking Water Office, and Michael Gaslow, who oversaw the city's water plant, are all facing these charges. More charges are expected to come. I am so very happy that we're finally getting a little bit of justice for this. We've been dealing with these crises for a year and a half now. And so it's just really also saddening to see that they're still struggling with this. There's still, you know, not a lot of help being, you know, brought to Flint. So, you know, what do you think this says about, you know, honestly, like just the government of Michigan and also with the United States? I feel like even though we've been getting help for Flint, there's really haven't been enough push to actually find someone until now. But I feel like his comments weren't even sincere. I mean, we've interviewed him, we've asked him questions, we've countless and countless times, what's going on, and he's always going around the issue. So I kind of agree that he's the overseer, he should know at least something. There's some information. And it'll also be interesting to see how long they get, because the charges that I saw, they're only like 6 counts and they're only getting like 3 years in prison, which I don't think is anywhere amount of justice as like what these Flint people really deserve. The $20 bill will be getting a new look in the next couple of years. It was announced yesterday that anti-slavery activist Harriet Tubman will be replacing Andrew Jackson on the bill. She will be the first African American and the first woman to appear on U.S. currency. It did not take long for people everywhere to take their thoughts in oppositions to social media. Such an interesting turn of events for this.
Nice variety coming up in our
Well, he's
bills.
still going to be on the bill. I read an
yeah.
article that he's just going to be on the back of it, and Harriet Tubman's going to be on the front. And there are also other bills that will have, you know, women on them, like Elizabeth Cady Stanton and such.
I've heard that.
On like the bill, the 5 that has Abraham Lincoln on it. So, do you guys think that this is a great idea? Is it a long time coming? Because we've never seen a woman on currency ever.
It's
so this is
about
pretty cool.
time.
You know what's saddening is that we're so excited about it, and this got so much backlash on social media. I could not believe it. It was so many just people, why are we changing it? I also saw Donald Trump say something on the Today Show today about, you know, she said Harriet Tubman is fantastic, but why would we take off Andrew Jackson? Because he was just as fantastic.
You know, of
definitely. She's definitely a hero who deserves this award to be on this currency. When we come back, we'll be talking about this week's Super Tuesday results. Stay tuned. The New York primaries happened Tuesday. Both the Republican and Democratic side were working hard trying to recruit voters from the Big Apple. But all eyes were on Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders after their heated debate on CNN just last week. Sanders being from Brooklyn and Clinton being a senator of New York for 8 years. It was expected to be a tight race. Donald Trump, a New York native, as well as was confident in winning his home state in competition with John Kasich and Ted Cruz. But it was Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump that took the win this week. But the other candidates took their losses and stayed optimistic. Both Bernie Sanders and John Kasich spoke out on social media after losing. Ted Cruz did not. I'm here for Bernie, even though he did not win. He was very humble about his loss. He spoke about voting irregularities that were occurring in New York, which I didn't know about. 30% of New York couldn't even vote.
Yeah, I did hear about that.
So it was interesting to see that Bernie, you know, really was still very optimistic. I feel like he's very humble, and even though he took this loss, he's still going to, you know, win this battle. I honestly just hope our projections aren't true. I hope that in these next, you know, couple elections that we really see a change in dynamic, because I really want some change to occur, that we're getting closer to summertime. Welcome back. This is the last producers panel we will be shooting in West Hall, for its demolition will occur and we will be moving to South Hall. So saddening that this is, you know, our last show being recorded of the semester and in West Hall. We had so many great memories here. What do you guys, you know, anticipate for South Hall? And, you know, what you will miss it.
Oh, I'm
not going to miss it at all.
I'm not fond memories.
I can't wait
I don't
have any fond memories.
That's
My
it.
fond memories are this equipment not working.
West
But let's go to
Hall
the
is
action.
kind of an era, and West
And
Hall
this
has
is
been
great.
very
Yes,
good
it
to
is.
us.
Okay, well,
Yes,
that's
it
it for
is.
BG24 News Producers Panel tonight. You can check out these stories and more on youtube.com/BG24 News. Also, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and now Instagram. And feel free to tweet us about what you think about these stories and issues. Have a great night, everyone, and we will see you in the fall.
South Hall.